But the sad truth is that so many people don't know how to push one layer beyond their social media reality. And I know a lot of people out there. I speak to people on the streets all the time. Like I said, taxi drivers, people like that. And a lot of them, they're still in this, they think Google's a search engine. They don't realize it's an agenda engine, which means YouTube's an agenda engine. And, you look at what's trending on YouTube. I mean, I do that as a joke every now and then. All it is funny, happy, goofy YouTubers, music videos, sports highlights. I mean, they're feeding you stuff just to keep you entertained. But what's really trending, they're hiding because they can't show it and it's censored. And the problem is that it's true, the truth will come out, but it's hard to get it out right now when the world is conditioned to where 99% of their internet is the social platforms. In India, when you get a mobile phone, I think when you buy one at the market, the internet is Facebook. It's like preloaded. And for a lot of people there, they know it as Facebook. That's the internet for them. And so, unfortunately, there's still this issue, and I've felt it. We got a strike from YouTube a couple weeks ago, and we got shut down for a week on YouTube. And that's happened to us again 3 or 4 months ago. And when we're not on YouTube for a week, I feel it, because with a shadow ban on Instagram, which means they're throttling everything we do, it's hard to get a chunk of people to hear about something quickly. It just is. And so it's still real, unfortunately. I mean, luckily, we've got the Digital Freedom Platform. It can spread by peer-to-peer when we got a big thing coming up. But if you want to have a continuing dialogue, it's still frustrating. And like you said, it's the equivalent of book burning. I wish there were more people in the streets throwing their hands up and demanding solutions. It's good to see, Congress pulling in these CEOs and trying to put them on the hot seat and get them to explain their behavior. At least that's a start. I had a conversation in here with a member of the House of Lords a week ago, and he spoke openly about holding these digital companies to task, potentially breaking them up, and potentially demanding digital freedom of speech. We're almost at 250,000 signatures for our open letter. So I see some progress. I really do, but I'm still very frustrated with these social media companies and the fact we can't get a real message out there. So I'm frustrated.
Well, I think part of that's not just the social media, it's also mainstream media and how they're censoring. And then the social media ends up being like the secondary afterthought. Because, for example, Google having the lawsuit filed by the US government, the antitrust lawsuit that was filed last Monday, you don't see anything about that in mainstream media at all. And so one thing that I've heard the average person say, I remember even my mom saying that, even my mom saying this before she passed in 2016, her response would always be like, well, if that was true, then I'd hear about it in the news. Or if that was true, my doctor would be talking about it. Or if that was true, they expect it to be on mainstream news.
Yeah.
And by not having it on mainstream news and having it on YouTube or on one of our own live feeds, whatever that case, whatever venue that we have, it gives the impression to the average person, oh, well, this information is just what they refer to as conspiracy theory. Oh, that's just a loon, or that's just crazy, or that's just somebody that, is trying to get their message across. And that's okay for us to be labeled that way. I'm not complaining about us being labeled that way. What it does, though, is it prevents the truth from being disseminated. Because as you said, they minimize, or they try to invalidate the truth with ridicule. So there's the 3 phases of truth, right? The first is ridicule. Second is violent opposition. And the third is accepting it as always having been known as the facts. And I've actually experienced this on 2 separate occasions way before COVID, where I came out and I said something. The first time was about the relationship between insulin-like growth factor and cancer, growth hormone and cancer. And I, just a short little background on this, I spoke at a conference and at an A4M conference in, I think it was in 1999 or 2000. And it was in 2000, it was in 1999 actually. And I got the worst reviews for CME purposes, continuing medical education reviews. There was, I think, 1,700 doctors that were in the conference. I had like 35 that attended my lecture. I was, my reviews on my CME review forms were like an embarrassment to medicine, shouldn't be allowed to, practice medicine, doesn't know what he's talking about. There was 1 out of the 34 people that said interesting, and that was it. Then the following year, I give a lecture again, and I don't even know how I got invited back because with the first performance being so bad, supposedly. But I was sponsored by a pharmacy, and they wanted me. They were a big corporate sponsor, so they put me back on the stage, and I gave a lecture, and this lecture resulted. They had 1,800 or 1,900 doctors at that conference. They had a guy that's standing at the exit clicking with a little clicker to see how many people are coming in, because fire code was that they couldn't have more than like 1,950 people in there. They had over 2,100 people that attended that lecture. I got the highest CME evaluations that they'd ever had. I got a standing ovation. The chief of plastic surgery from Mayo Clinic stood up and said I was ahead of my time. A hand surgeon from Yale University stood up and said that I was a genius. I mean, all sorts of accolades. Now, this is 1 year difference, okay? 1999 and then 2000, December 2000. Do you know what the difference in my two lectures was? Just take a wild guess.
Nothing.
One slide that I had added to the second lecture, and it was a reference to a study that was published in September 20th, 2000 in the Journal of the National Cancer Institute that said exactly what I had said the year earlier. And now all of a sudden I go from embarrassment to medicine to being a genius and being ahead of my time. So I've realized that this first thing of the ridicule and then violent opposition and then accepting it as always having been known the truth, this is a part and parcel of how society operates. And so people like you and I and many others like us that have stood up and stated whatever we've stated, voiced our truth, we may be burned on the cross today, but they'll remember our names in the future as being the ones that made the difference. I don't do it because, of that. And I know you don't do it, but you don't do what you do. And I don't do what I do so that we can be remembered in the future. My motivation is my kids. I think your motivation is probably your kids, and the motivation to just do the right thing, because that's what is sustainable. That's what allows us to do what we do and to feel good about what we do and be, people always ask, what's your secret? What's your drive? Well, when you're doing something that makes a difference, you're impacting people's lives, there's nothing that can hold you back. And from quantum physics, it would be defined as 0 point, right? It's the maximum output with minimal expenditure of energy. You're like the Energizer Bunny. There's no depletion because you're on a mission that's much higher than yourself. You're in alignment with whatever your life purpose is. So I don't want to get too metaphysical here, but you understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It can't necessarily put into words, and words wouldn't even justify it. The point is that we're doing something that is going to make a difference, and we recognize that and we realize that. And from that standpoint, that's what feeds us. And I'm appreciative and grateful for having that opportunity to be able to have had a voice. And I don't even know how I got that platform, but it just kind of happened. So I guess there are things that we don't understand or why they happen, but they end up happening. And we just have to ride the wave and enjoy it. And this is a great time to be alive, Brian. I mean, I don't know if you agree with me, but this is truly, despite all the wrong things that are happening, and the idiocy that's happening, it's an incredible time to be alive, because history will remember this point as a critical turning point in mankind's existence on this planet.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real. And he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. I'm looking for partners, collaborators, colleagues who want to join forces with me around the globe and create real value, generational wealth, and financial freedom for everyone else around the world. Get involved in the cryptocurrency markets, get involved in the NFT markets. This is your moment. Life all comes down to a few moments. Don't let this pass. Now it's not too late. Next year's going to be too late. Ultimately, this is about freedom. That's the way I see it. This is about giving power back to the people and enabling billions of people worldwide to use the financial markets to improve their lives and those of their friends and their families and their communities. Honestly, I think it's a violation of human rights not to allow people basic access to financial services. Because right now people are being kept in the dark, they're being robbed of education, and it's a travesty. And so I'm looking for people that want to join me and be a part of this solution. And that all happens inside the DeFi Academy. The gains my students are making are absolutely amazing. Double, triple digit gains in the first month alone. That's amazing. This will change your life. Now is the time to get involved. I'm going to tell you exactly how my students in my academy made money in the last 30 days. I'm talking about real trading results. And let me just whet your appetite a little bit. Let me hit you with some numbers. I'm talking Brendan from New Zealand is up 68.77% on the month. Steve from Europe up 83%. Albert in Singapore up 169.9% on one single trade. I got Susan up 153% on her call options alone, also rocking 139% returns and 442% returns as well on individual trades. These are people that are changing their financial future in the last 30 days, but it's based on trading discipline.
I've graduated over 500 students from inside my academy from over 54 countries around the world. It's amazing. When it comes to crypto, DeFi, and blockchain, we love this space. We truly believe it's the future. This is down to our core. It's authentic to what we're doing, and everybody can tell through the camera because you can't make this stuff up.
If you're watching me now, wherever you are, I implore you, take 60 seconds right now and join my academy. Apply today. Now you've got a chance. Life all comes down to a few moments. What are you going to do? What's the choice that you're going to make?